Fifth grade lesson 1.8 is relate multiplication to division. As you probably already know, multiplication and division are very related to one another, and this lesson is just to reinforce that knowledge. Our essential question is, how is multiplication used to solve a division problem? You can use the relationship between multiplication and division to solve a division problem using the same numbers. Multiplication and division are opposite or inverse operations. That's a word you're going to want to kind of get into your memory banks. The opposite is an inverse operation. Multiplication is the inverse of division. Division is the inverse of multiplication. Similarly, addition is the inverse of subtraction. Subtraction is the inverse of addition. Let's unlock the problem. Joel and 5 friends collected 126 marbles. They shared the marbles equally. How many marbles will each person get? And of course, when you see shared the marbles equally, you know you've got division going on. We're going to underline the dividend, and then what is the divisor? The dividend is the amount of numbers, or the amount of marbles you started with, 126 marbles. Different color. And the divisor is how many pieces we are splitting that into. Divisor is how many pieces we're splitting that into. And we are splitting that amongst 5 friends. Oh, and I skipped this part, just vocabulary building again. When we're multiplying, we call these the factors, and then the answer is the product. Those are the vocabulary for those. When we're talking about division, the dividend is the whole amount that we're going to be splitting up but haven't split up yet. The divisor is how many pieces those are going to be split into, and the answer to a division problem is called a quotient. Okay, so back to this. Dividend was how many marbles we had. The divisor is how many pieces we're splitting that off into, the 5 friends. Divisor is 5. They want us to outline a rectangular array on the grid to model 126 squares arranged in 6 rows of the same length. So we'll go ahead and get our highlighter here, and we're going to do rows 1 of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to do that. So this is 6 here. We don't know how many times over across here we're going to do that, but we do know that we need to have 126. So we're going to continue going over. So now we have 12, 18, the multiples of 6, right? So we'll just keep filling that in with our multiples of 6 until we get to 126 filled in. How many rows did it take me? So here I have 126 filled in. How many columns did that take me? It took me 21 columns to do that. Remember, we talked about area of rectangles. Area is length times width, or base times height. 21 times 6 should equal 126, and it does. And 126 divided into 6 equal amounts gave me 21 columns. So how many squares are shaded in each row? There are 6 shaded in each row. Let me do a different color. 6 shaded in each row. Use the array to complete the multiplication sentence, then use the multiplication sentence to complete the division sentence. 6 times what number gave me the 126? 6 times 21 did. 126 divided by 6, 126 divided into 6 rows gave me 21 columns. So each of the 6 friends will get 21 marbles. So you could see when I do 6 times 21 equals 126, I could reverse that. 126 divided by 6 equals 21. 126 divided by 6 equals 21, because division is the inverse of multiplication. Let's look at the another way. And using the distributive property, that's where you can pull things apart to make them easier to work with and then put them back together again. If we divide 52 divided by 4, we can use the distributive property and an area model to solve division problems. Remember that the distributive property states that multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend in the sum by the number and then adding the products. Very wordy. We'll see what they mean by this here. Write a related multiplication sentence for this division problem. We have 52 divided by 4. That means 4 times this number, whatever it is going to equal 52. 4 times this number, whatever it is going to equal 52. We don't know that number, but And there's lots of ways, lots of paths to solve this, and you'll get all kinds of practice this year and next year on the different ways to solve that. But one way is to use the distributive property. Let's break this apart to our advantage. The large area into smaller area for partial products that you know. I know 52, if I broke it apart, I'm going to break it, because this is a 4, I'm going to use that math to my advantage. I'm going to say 52 is the same as 40 plus 12. I chose 40 because that's easily divisible by 4, and I know in my head what that number is going to be. So 40 plus 12 is still 52, right? So I'm going to kind of split this array into a 40 and a 12, okay? And 4 times what number is going to give me 40, and then I'll do 4 times what number is going to give me 12, okay? Well, 4 times what number gives me 40? Yeah, that's easy, right? You know those, the 10. So 4 times 10 is going to give me 40. And then 4 times what number is going to give me 12? We know our math facts, our multiplication facts. We know that 4 times 3 is 12. And so if I put those two together, 10 plus 3, that will tell me how much I need to make this 52. 13 times 4 should equal 52, and we can test out our math just to make sure. 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Ta-da, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Write the multiplication sentence with the unknown factor that you found, and then use the multiplication sentence to find the quotient. 4 times 13 is equal to 52. That means that 52 divided by 4 is 13. Explain how you can use the distributive property to find the quotient of 96 divided by 8. Well, I'm looking at 96 and I'm looking at 8, and I think I would like to use 80 out of this. So I'm going to do 80 plus what will give me 96? 16 more gives me 96, right? Okay. So now I just have to ask myself, 8 times what number will give me 80? And I will add that to 8 times what number will give me 16. Well, on this one, 8 times 10 gives me 80. I'm going to change colors there, 10. And 8 times 2 gives me 16. And together, that becomes 12. So 96 divided by 8 is 12, and if I know these are related, they're inverse operations, so if that's true, I can double check it by saying, what is 8 times 12? 8 times 12 better be 96. 16, and 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9, and there it is. So 96 divided by 8 is 12. So you can just piece it apart to make it easy to divide or multiply. So that's really all this lesson wants us to be familiar with. I know you know the algorithm for how to do the division. It's just helping us see that we can piece these apart and maybe do some of these in our brain. So let's just practice that skill. Brad has 72 toy cars that he puts into 4 equal groups. How many cars does Brad have in each group? Use the array to show your answer. 4 times some unknown number is going to equal 72. That also means 72 divided by 4, divided into 4 equal pieces, is going to be that same number. So here we have the 4. Unknown number is across the top as the base. And we just need to highlight until we get to 72. And actually, we can split that, right? Let's make that easy. I'm doing it 4 times some unknown number equals 72. So I think I'm going to split it 72 into a 40 plus 32. 4 plus 32 is 72. And I know that 40 is going to be 4 divided by 40, or 4 times 10 equals 40. So there's 10 rows right there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 rows right there. And then I need to do enough for 32. So 4 times what number gives me 32? 4 times 8 does. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that gives me 10 here and 8 here for a total of 18. So 18 times 4 should give me 72. 8 times 4 is 32. 4, 5, 6, 7, and it does. So this is 18. 4 times 18 equals 72. That means 72 divided by 4 is 18. Let's use the same idea here. 108 divided by 6. Well, I'm going to split this into 60 plus 48 will equal 108, right? Let's double check that. I think I got my math right on that. Yes, it does. 60 plus 48. Well, I know that 60 divided by 6, or 6 times what number equals 60? 10. And 48 divided by 6, or 6 times what number gives me 48? 8 does. Thankfully, I know my multiplication facts, or I could have used my grid. And 10 plus 8 is 18. So 108 divided by 6 is 18. And if you want to double check, you can do 18 times 6 just to make sure it's correct. 8 times 6, 48. 6 times 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here, 84 divided by 6, I would go 60 again just to make that easy. Plus, that leaves me with 24. 60 plus 24 is 84. Okay, now I'm going to do 60 divided by 6, or 6 times what number gives me 60? 10. And 24 divided by 6, or 6 times what number gives me 24? 6 times 4 gives me 24. So I'm going to end up with 84 divided by 6 being 14. Double check it. 14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6, 7, 8, 84. This last one, 184 divided by 8. I think I'll do 80, and that's going to leave me with 104. I'm going to do 80 again. That's 160, and then that leaves me with 24 more. So you could split it 3 times to make it easy. 8 times what number gives me 80? 10. 8 times what number gives me 80? 10. 8 times what number gives me 24? 3. 10 plus 10 plus 3 is 23. So 23 is my answer. Hopefully I made that make sense okay. We can double check that. 23 times 8, 24. 8 times 2 is 16, 17, 18, 184. Checks out. Hopefully this makes sense on how to piece it apart to do the division. It's just trying to tie together in your brain the relationship between multiplication, division, and how you can, when not given a piece of paper to work out the algorithm like you know how, to piece things apart and see if you can get it done mentally in your brain as well.